Today on the Norse Benchwarmers podcast, we step up to the plate and talk the opening week of Cincinnati Reds baseball, enter the fast lane with some NASCAR conversation, and set your timers as the Norse Benchwarmers podcast 2-minute warning returns. But first, join us as we tip off the show talking some March Madness and breaking news out of the NFL. Welcome back to the Norse Benchwarmers podcast. I'm your host, Colton Smith, here joined by producer Josh Northcutt and special guest or co-host Ben Miller.
I'm going to say he's been here long enough.
He's been here. He's a co-host. The lower third always says co-host, but I just went through the special guest routine. But how was our weekend, guys?
Don't want to talk about it, but I guess I'm here to talk about it.
Yeah, here you are to talk. If you didn't want to talk about it, you know.
It's been fun. A lot of great matchups, March Madness-wise, and great start for the Reds.
Didn't it feel good to not just have to sit there hoping that your team didn't you already had the big blow happen, you know?
Yeah.
Didn't have two teams in the same region.
One time his team makes it one time, and he acts like his team's been there before.
Yep.
Well, we have 1980.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a great weekend of sports, really. You
Yes.
know, opening weekend of baseball. March Madness, a lot of great games, and it was just overall great weekend. Top 5 weekend for me. I'll get into that in a little bit, but yeah. So actually today is where I want to start this video, though, because there was a huge deal made in the NFL. Josh, I'll let you explain it.
Yeah, so the Houston Texans went out and made a blockbuster trade with the Buffalo Bills, trading the star wide receiver Stefon Diggs to the Houston Texans for a second-round pick next year. Not this year.
Mm-hmm.
Next year. So before the show, me and Ben were talking about it. If you're going to trade Stefon Diggs, I get it. He needed the move on. They wanted him to move on. However, if you're going to get a 2025 pick, why not wait until after the draft that now you're not telling the entire NFL world, hey, we're taking a wide receiver? Or not wait till draft day at least. Why get it done if it's a 2025?
Yeah, that's a good point. They just probably saw the deal and just wanted it done. You know, sometimes if you sit there and wait on it, maybe they were worried that the Texans would come off the table. Not that I would see why they would. I mean, that's such a great deal for them.
I'm gonna say I think they also, if I remember correctly, had to throw a 5th and a 6th in. But I mean, so you get Diggs and 2 picks? Yeah, yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So it definitely doesn't look like a lose anywhere for the Texans, but it's definitely an interesting direction for the Bills.
Ben, your thoughts on the trade and basically the Texans' outlook on this thing?
Yeah, I did not see this coming at all. It came as a surprise for me, but in their playoff history though, they haven't gotten past the AFC divisional, and people were saying trade Diggs, and I think there was rumors he wanted to be traded.
Yeah.
Yes, no, he definitely did.
Yeah, but with this move to Houston though, Houston's offense, it's going to be so scary next year.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a great addition for Houston, and they're going to be tough in the AFC South.
I'm going to say, in my opinion, they've instantly become the team to beat in the AFC, not named the Chiefs.
Yeah, outside the Chiefs.
Yes, obviously. But, I mean, this offseason, they turned around. They re-signed Dalton Schultz, re-signed Noah Brown, traded for Joe Mixon, now traded for Stefon Diggs, kept their offensive coordinator, who's widely considered one of the best in the NFL. The question will be adding the 5 new starters on defense and how they react there, but it's a top 10 offensive line, and they arguably got the best punter in football in Tommy Townsend from the Chiefs. They did not have a bad offseason.
No.
They saw their window with Stroud and went for it.
I would argue they had the best offseason of anybody.
Yeah, I mean,
definitely up there.
Yeah.
Their defense was their weakness last year. They would put up 40 points and allow 40 points. If this defense can gel together, can work together, and get this defense down to 20 points per game or something like that, I don't know what their numbers were, but if they can, anything helps in that situation. And having a generational quarterback like C.J. Stroud looks to be after his rookie year, that just surrounding him with the best players you possibly can is the best way to capitalize on that. A Texans organization that's not used to having. I mean, they had Deshaun Watson. We saw how terribly they handled that. To see them come through this offseason and definitely flipped the script on that was really nice to see.
And then, Ben, you were saying before the show you wanted to mention some of the losses that the Bills are going in and maybe what direction you could see. Or
Yeah, like they got rid of Stefon Diggs, of course, this morning. Jordan Poyer, Tre'Davious White, Mitch Moore, Gabriel Davis, another wide receiver, Tyrell Dodson, and Leonard Floyd. Like, I think this year the Bills aren't going to be as competitive as we've seen them, and this year it's going to be a rebuilding year for them.
What's terrifying to think about, and I mean, as we're all Bengals fans, I believe, or are you a Colts fan?
No, I'm a Bengals fan.
Okay, so as Bengals fans, it's now you look over at the AFC South and it's the Texans and then everybody else. The AFC West is the Chiefs and everybody else. And the East now looks like it's the Dolphins. Maybe we'll give the Jets a conversation if Aaron Rodgers can come back healthy.
Everything works out.
I mean, he's also 40-plus years old.
Yeah.
The 3 or 4 guys they signed this offseason are 35-ish. Like,
Very sketchy offensive line.
yes, that's what I'm saying. So they're up there. So it's basically the Dolphins and everybody else. And then you got the AFC North. And
It's a 1,000-yard stare.
and it's like everybody had a great offseason in the AFC North. Except for there's an asterisk on the Bengals waiting to see what happens because the defensive tackle position. You lose DJ Reader, who's going to stop the run?
I mean, even last year where they weren't stopping the run.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where it gets a little scary as a Bengals fan, but I mean, hopefully maybe the draft they can address it, or maybe a late season move and they can make a blockbuster trade that would surprise everybody.
They signed the Texans' old DT, right?
No. Yes, Sheldon Rankins.
Yeah. I
But
don't know if he's anything like special or anything.
He's more
like
of a
that.
pass rusher.
Yeah,
he's more of a pass rush guy. So it's
There's
like
no run stopper.
there's no guy in the middle who's going to stop the run. And I got into a conversation with somebody earlier today on Facebook talking about what the Bengals window closed a little bit today. I don't care what anybody says. The Bengals window closed a little bit today with this move by the Texans. But they're like, but it also opened a little bit because the Bengals own the Bills. The Bengals and the Bills were never a threat.
Yeah.
The Bengals were going to put up 40 on that Monday night game when they played the Bills. Every time it's like Burrow sees them and says, I'm going to drop 40. He just doesn't care. So the Bills were never a threat, but the Texans are a threat. They beat the Bengals last year.
Yep.
And they gave up 130 yards rushing to Devin Singletary. They've got Joe Mixon now. You tell me when Joe Mixon plays the Bengals, he's not going to be a little bit more motivated?
You think he's not going to go for that like 5 touchdown game he went against the Panthers that one year? Like
exactly. So I mean, I don't know. I hope I'm wrong, but it's.
I got 2 questions really quick that I want to ask about this, and then we can move on. For basically around Stefon Diggs. If you're the Bengals and you knew the price for Stefon Diggs was 2 second round or just a second rounder. Would you have taken that deal?
No, because they're having to pay his 3-year contract still, and it's a lot of money. The Texans have the money. The Bengals will not because they've got to pay Jamar.
And then the second one is, do you think this wide receiver core at the Texans, Diggs, Dell, and Collins, is this the best wide receiver core in the league?
For me, easily.
Yeah.
I believe so too. Yeah, like I mentioned before, that team is going to be dangerous this year.
Absolutely.
They're going to be one of the top dogs in the AFC.
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch. We got a lot more to talk about the offseason later on in the show, or later on in the future of the show. But right now we're going to talk about March Madness because we had one hell of a weekend. And starting in the East region, which was held in Boston at the TD Garden. I don't really have many notes on this region. UConn was just levels better than everybody. They beat opponents by a combined 111 points throughout this region, and it's just insane.
Yeah, they are extremely, extremely good. I'll start off by saying I could not have been more wrong about this weekend.
You not only picked them to get upset once, you then watched them play the first 2 games and picked them to get upset again.
Yeah, so I mean, I could not have been any more wrong about this team. It's just, I mean, they are so good. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say besides this performance. A 30-0 run. 30-0 run. Have you ever seen anything like that, Ben?
No, never. And I did not expect that at all. Like, this UConn offense and defense, they're the most complete all year, but Illinois, they're a really good offense, 11th in scoring. Like I mentioned before, I did not expect UConn to go on a 30-0 run. Like, just looking at the stats right here, I believe it was late in the first, it was tied at 23, and then 12 minutes to go in the second, it was 50-something to 23. Like, that is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
The impressiveness of holding Terrence Shannon to 8 points. 8 points. So it's not even just offense. I mean, they scored 77, but they held Illinois' great offense to 52 and Terrence Shannon to 8. I was way wrong about UConn.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we all but this guy over here who saw it coming, the upset man. You know, none of them were really upsets, but you know what I mean. I just love calling you the upset man.
Yep.
Yeah, just crazy. I was watching back a little bit of our episode, and I noticed, like, dang, Ben hit the nail on UConn and a lot of stuff this weekend, actually, as we go through here.
Yep.
Moving down, let's go ahead and rip off the Band-Aid. The West region held in Los Angeles at what I still call the Staples Center. Alabama and UNC. Josh, take the floor.
Ben, you want to talk about it first, or you want me to go on my rant real fast?
That's all right. I'll talk about it first. So, like heading into this game, Alabama, North Carolina, two really good offenses. Alabama, of course, the number one scoring offense, and especially with Marcus Sears, 21.5 points per game. He's a really good three-point shooter. R.J. Davis, another really talented guard. But UNC, they got really good defense in Amarno Baycott and Harrison Ingram. But I just felt like Alabama, with their scoring offense, they took advantage of that, and that's how they got this dub over UNC.
I will right before I'll go ahead and say this. I felt like, and I was texted this, I felt like UConn just tried to out Alabama.
You mean UNC?
UNC.
What did I say?
UConn.
Oh, sorry. UNC. I felt like UNC tried to out-Bama them, and you're not going to out-Bama, honestly.
Yep.
And they just played at Alabama's pace. They played their style of game, and that was the main thing I felt contributed to that. But Josh.
All right, so I got a few facts from this game.
Okay.
As I was watching, I was taking notes that were very painful to loss, for the loss. 20-7 run by the Carolina Tar Heels to take a 54-46 lead in the half. I thought it was over. I'll be the first to admit it. I was like, here's the run.
I'll be the second.
We always go on this run, just like we did versus Michigan State. It kept it close. Bam, go on the run. Game over. We're not going to look back. Grant Nelson, on the other hand, decided to have a different mindset and put up 19 of his 24 in the second half. That dude could not be stopped. It didn't matter whether Ingram was on him. It didn't matter whether Baycott was on him. We got absolutely murdered. But the biggest stat of them all, of why the Tar Heels lost, and I'm not putting blame on this man because I love this man, and I will always cherish him as a Tar Heel, and I hope he does come back. But R.J. Davis, 4 of 20 from the field. 0 of 9 from 3. Can't happen. Not in March.
Absolutely not.
The play, though, and I'm not blaming the kid because everybody wants to be a hero. But
Right.
The one play that will stand out in my head when you ask me about this season, and it will stand for probably until the tip-off next year because, basketball season ended already. Withers attempting a 3 when he had a wide-open lane. The man has attempted 19 threes this year.
Yep.
Wide open. I get it. Straight up at top of the key where you want it. But you're a big man. Attack the lane. Draw a foul. Hit a layup. Just like you did, I believe it was the series prior. You do not need to be shooting the 3.
Yeah, like when he took that shot, I was so surprised by that. Like I was thinking the same thing. Like drive the lane, try to get the foul, don't shoot the 3.
Yeah, that.
Like why?
There was
Why?
a lot. Yeah, well, that was basically my response, but a few other words were involved in
Of
there that I
course.
won't repeat because, kid-friendly show.
That plays into what I was saying earlier, though, is they played – that's something Alabama would do.
Yeah.
They played the Alabama-type game, in my opinion.
And then the big last thing was Kudo, our star freshman point guard, played a total of 13 minutes. Least amount of minutes he's played all year.
Was he the one that they were, like, leaving wide open on the 3?
Yeah, he doesn't shoot the ball well. He's basically your Carolina point guard where he'll dish it well. He just isn't a scorer yet.
Yeah.
But he's also 17 years old.
Yeah.
He graduated high school early to come play ball at North Carolina.
Yeah.
Has had a hell of a year, and like I said, only 13 minutes from Cadeau is kind of questionable, but
Yeah, I felt like he played more. That actually surprises me.
30 minutes.
Huh.
Least amount he played all season. And it's going to be a game that literally is what if. I feel horrible for Armando because Armando deserves to cut down the nets and at least get to a Final Four and get us a rematch versus UConn. RJ Davis deserved it, but hopefully he'll be back next year. Ingram deserved it. Hopefully he'll be back next year. But yeah, it's pain. And yeah.
I mean, overall, just what a great matchup. I think this is one of the best matchups we've seen so far in this tournament.
That was a hell of a game.
Yeah, like I mentioned before, two great offenses, two star guards, and Marcus Sears for Alabama and
Absolute stud.
RJ Davis for UNC. These two guards, they can really shoot the three well, and both teams can really shoot the three well. It was really entertaining to watch by these two squads.
One stat, and then we'll move on to the next one. UNC, on average this season, took 22 threes per game versus Alabama. They shot 32.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they're a great three-point shooting team when they're just flinging everything they got. Well, you see that a lot against Alabama. That's kind of what happened in the Elite Eight. But before that, Clemson played Arizona. Another shot through the heart for Josh. Clemson beat them 77-72. Arizona played from behind all game. Clemson just kind of stayed in their lane, didn't, try to adjust to the Arizona offense. And as I predicted, they won that game. Chase Hunter, I'm looking at the wrong thing. The one thing I found interesting about this game is that there are 4 factors, 4 advanced stats that are supposedly what determines who wins a game. Now, this isn't obviously, as you can see here, this isn't for sure. But those stats are effective field goal percentage, turnover percentage, offensive rebound, and free throw to field goal attempts. Clemson only led that game in effective field goal percentage. All the rest, all those supposedly factors that decide the game, Arizona led in, and they still won.
Well, I can tell you why Arizona lost. The same reason, well, one of the reasons why Carolina lost. Their star point guard went 5 of 18 from the field, and the magical 0 from 9 from 3.
Yeah, they both went.
My 2 favorite players in the tournament combined an 0 for 18 night in the same building from 3.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that was one of the reasons why Arizona lost this game was Caleb Love. That's his game. Shooting from the three. He's one of the best three-point shooters in the Pac-12. He's proved it all year. But overall, this was a great matchup. Like Clemson, they proved me wrong, and I think they proved a lot of people wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're a really good offense. 4th in the ACC in points per game, averaging 77.4 points per game. Arizona, number 3 in scoring. Caleb Love, averaging 18 points per game. As I mentioned before, he can hit threes. Unfortunately, that did not show up. But, this Clemson squad, I think they're one of the most underrated teams in this tournament. Like I mentioned before, they proved a lot of people wrong.
Yeah, that's something I can sit here and act like I saw this coming because I picked it last week. But I also was super low on them that first weekend. But seeing how they kind of came to the plate and looked really good those first 2 weekends, combined with the fact that I was never a Arizona truster. I just don't think their style of play is what gets you deep in March. Of course, you look at Alabama, who plays a similar style, arguably a more risky style of that version of ball, and they're in the Final Four, so maybe I'm not entirely true on that, but I never liked Arizona, and that's mainly why I picked Clemson. But yeah, I think they caught a lot of people besides Logan Hatfield by surprise.
I'm going to say, before we move on to the actual matchup of the Elite Eight, I wanted to add 6 straight season, Arizona now has lost 4 seeds or lower.
Wow.
Arizona is the new Purdue.
I wasn't going to say it. But
they've taken over.
Kind of looks like that way,
Yeah,
and also, did you guys know Clemson, they advanced to the Elite Eight for the first time in 43 years?
Yeah, it'd been a long time.
That was
I
crazy.
didn't know it was
Long time
43, but I knew it'd been a while.
Long time coming.
Well, talking about the Clemson Elite Eight, let's move on down to the Clemson-Alabama game, which was an outstanding game. We were watching it over at Max. Bama had their go-to player, Mark Sears, while P.J. Hall sat the bench. And I think that was the difference of this game. Because Clemson led majority of that game. I mean, Alabama was always kind of in it. And it was a back-and-forth game throughout. But at the end of the game, when it all mattered, P.J. Hall got into foul trouble, sat the bench, and Mark Sears was in there hitting the game-winning shots. And you look at that 89-82 final score, I think P.J. Hall could have gotten about 7 points, could have matched Mark Spears at the end of the game, or Sears, not Spears. Bama goes 16 for 36 from three, 44%. And that's the main thing I said, like, for Bama to make it to the Final Four, for Bama to make a run, I've said that for years, they basically just have to go ballistic from three, and that's exactly what they've done on this run.
Yep. Yeah, like heading into this game, again, two great offenses. Alabama, like I mentioned before, number 1 scoring offense, but I feel like Mark Sears was the difference maker in this game. He had 23 points, 8 out of 18 field goals. He was red hot from beyond the arc, 7 out of 14 three-point shots. Overall, what a great matchup, and Sears, he was the difference maker.
I'm going to say, I'll admit, I did not watch this game. I was still hurt. I did not want to watch anything to do with college basketball. But the notation I did have was Clemson allowed 14 three-pointers in their first 3 games of the tournament.
Wow.
They allowed 10 in the second half to Alabama. There's the difference of your game.
Yep. I'll take that right there. Well, moving on down to you guys got anything else to say about that?
No.
Moving on down to the Midwest region of the bracket, held in Detroit, the beautiful, beautiful city of Detroit, and Little Caesars Arena. Purdue played Gonzaga in the first game, and you guys might be surprised I actually missed that game. I had a birthday party, and I caught it bits and parts of it on my phone, but, I didn't want to be that guy, that's not engaged at the birthday party. I was pretty confident in a win here. Looking at the stats, I saw Braden Smith. He got top 5 assists in a single tournament game of all time with 15, and it seemed like Purdue actually hit threes, which they struggled with in the Elite Eight, and held Gonzaga to not make threes, which was the main thing that got them to the Sweet 16 in the first place.
Yeah, I can sum this up by Zach Edey is a monster.
Thank you.
And Braden Smith is exactly what you said he was. This is the first time I really got to watch Purdue.
Yeah.
I'll admit that. And Braden Smith is an amazing point guard.
Absolutely.
14, 8, and 15. He was 2 rebounds away from a triple-double. That's impressive.
The biggest thing about him is that he does not, like last year, he was all like helter-skelter, didn't stop to think, just normal first-year point guard stuff. This year, he has control. This year, he stops. He thinks about what he's doing. He makes the smart play. I think that's really been, like, we got Lance Jones, a transfer who's great. Outside of that, not a lot of this team changed. Braden Smith was the big change. His ascension has been what's got us on this Final Four run.
Yeah, this is another great matchup. Purdue and Gonzaga. Like during the regular season, Gonzaga, not a lot of people were high on them, but since entering the
By
tournament,
a lot of people, you mean you two, right?
All right.
But entering the tournament, though, they defeated McNeese 86-65, and they defeated Kansas, which, to be honest, I did not expect that at all. I thought Kansas would keep that one close, but Gonzaga won 89-68, and I was curious to see how they would challenge Purdue. I mean, Purdue comes in number 2 in three-point shooting, one of the best elite three-point shooting teams this season.
I thank you.
Yep. You're welcome. But just to recap, though, Zach Edey doing Zach Edey things, putting up 27 points, 10 out of 15, 7 out of 10 from the free throw line, including 14 rebounds. And as I mentioned before, the three-point shooting, Braden Smith, he was 2 out of 4. Lawyer, is that his name?
Yes, Fletcher Lawyer.
He was 2 out of 4. Jones, he was 2 out of 6. And overall, they shot 9 out of 10 three-point shots. Like this Purdue team, they're for real.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The best part about that is they win the next game and went 3 for 15, but we'll talk about that in a moment. We'll talk about Tennessee versus Creighton. I missed this game as well. A couple stats I did notice that Tennessee shot 46% from 3. They have not done that all year long, probably. Had their role players show up. Zakai Ziegler looked good. I call him Little Bow Wow. He looks like that. Looks like him and like Mike, in my opinion. They shot actually better from the outside than they did inside, which is the offense that, at least from the games that I watched, seemed to be a very more inside-based team. They're smoking hot in Detroit, both games. The big three of Creighton, Shireman, Alexander, and Kalkbrenner, they combined for 52 of their 78 points as a team, and the Creighton team had 4 bench points. Those were the stats that I found, which is pretty much what you would expect.
Yeah, I mean, this game was exactly what I thought it was going to be. It was Shireman versus Connect. 26-25 was that outcome. However, what we did not see happening was Tennessee's next two best players, Ziegler and James, combined for 35. And Tennessee went on an 18-0 run in the second half.
Really?
Yeah, so, I mean, Tennessee just beat them. That's not what I saw happening, but yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, another great matchup between Creighton and Tennessee. It was really competitive in the first half, but like you mentioned, Tennessee, they went on a run in the second. I mean, Dalton Kennett had 26 points, 8 out of 21. Field goals, 3 out of 7, 3 points from 3 points. Ziegler with 18, Jordan James, with 15. Yeah, 15. And over on Creighton, Jellerman with 25. It was a great offensive performance by both these squads, but Tennessee was able to pull it out.
Yeah, I think if this was a regular season game and Tennessee was shooting at their normal pace and it wasn't March, I feel like Creighton wins this game 9 times out of 10. The fact that Tennessee's second player showed up, the fact that Tennessee was shooting hot from 3, that got them this win. And that's a lot of times in March what you have to do. You have to play outside of your comfort zone. You have to find different ways to win than what you're used to.
Yep.
And that's really what played a lot into Purdue beating Tennessee in the next game, which I was at in Detroit. Risked my life for this team, and it paid off.
Lord. Detroit's not that bad.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you gotta understand. I come from the country. So
congrats, you just killed all our viewership in Detroit.
Yeah, we just lost our Detroit viewership. Well, a really nice arena. The arena was amazing, very clean. It was made in I think 2017, but the seats were beautiful. Everything was beautiful about the arena, but the block walk I had outside of it was not as beautiful. Anyways, talking about the game, top 5 moment in my life, the duel between Zach Edey and Dalton Kennett was amazing. Edey had 40 points, Kennett had 37. Tennessee, once again, was smoking hot from 3, 11 for 26 from there, well above the season average. Purdue was not hot at 3. They were freezing cold from 3. 13 at 15, but if you notice, they only took 15 shots there, which is what I think was the difference of this game. Like I mentioned with Tennessee, they found a different way to win. Well, Purdue found a different way to win as well. Obviously, Zach Edey went berserk, but their guards are usually hitting those timely threes.
Foul. Sorry, somebody just fouled Edey again.
Oh, yeah. But Braden Smith, Fletcher Loyer found ways to get to the basket, get those shots, and get those timely shots a different way. Those 3 threes were all very clutch. The crowd went crazy every time it happened. And when you're one of the best 3-point shooting teams, it's not necessarily what you rely on as an offense, but it's definitely a difference maker in your game. And you are able to. I mean, that's really what happened against Farley Dickinson. We couldn't hit a 3 to save our life. Mm-hmm. And the fact that we had that happen again in the Elite 8 of all places and still were able to get that win was huge.
You got anything, Ben, before I go off about how horrible Edey is?
Oh, no.
I wouldn't go that far, Josh. Colton's right there.
Yeah. You are alone in your thoughts.
Yeah, I thought Tennessee, they gave Purdue a run. Like they were up.
Yes.
They were up 32-21 at one point, which was
I was starting to think about how long of a ride home that was about to be.
Yeah. But like you mentioned before, they were 11 out of 26 from 3. Like I was starting to think like they were going to be the difference in this game from hitting 3. Like Purdue's the one that should be hitting the threes,
exactly.
But they were ice cold, like you mentioned, 3 out of 15. But overall, great matchup. Dalton Kennett with 37, but the rest of the Tennessee team, they were in single digits. we're not able to help Kinnett.
Yeah,
but
little Bow Wow was struggling out there. Every time we took a shot, I breathed a sigh of relief.
yeah. But how about Zach Edey? 40 points, career high.
Hey, rolling your eyes over here, Josh. That's
He was 13 out of 21, made 14 out of 22 free throws, 6 rebounds. Man, the double-double machine showed up.
yeah, absolutely. And before we let Josh, he's got something to say. You want to know the difference? You want to know why Purdue's in the Final Four and North Carolina's not?
Go ahead.
Because they adjusted their game. They didn't just chuck up threes.
Fair. All right. Well,
Let's hear it.
All right. So this is just. I'll admit I did not watch this game. So
Okay.
I can't.
He has no basis.
So
of
yeah.
this.
So I've seen clips.
Okay. Handpicked clips.
Touche. So Tennessee took 11 free throws.
Uh-huh.
Purdue took 11 free throws.
Okay.
Zach Edey took 22.
Uh-huh.
You're telling me that man got fouled that many times, but it never got returned down on the end. So he's allowed to he's allowed to be physical on defense, but he's not allowed to be physical or be physicaled up on offense.
So I don't have the exact stats.
Okay.
I should have written this down. Purdue is one of the best teams at not fouling.
Well, I mean, you can not foul when it doesn't get called.
So you're saying throughout the entire season they just never
Yeah,
got...
home cooking's real nice in the Big Ten. They knew who was their meal ticket to the Final Four.
Okay. All right. So, and Tennessee being one of the most fouling teams in the country, that had nothing to do with it. It's all Zach Edey.
I mean, Zach Edey plays a big part about it. Also, he doesn't ever get called for 3 seconds, even though he just chills in the lane the whole time.
Do you know how the rule works? The second you step out of the paint, it
But he
resets?
doesn't step out of the paint.
He doesn't. Okay. I don't watch these like cherry picked clips, so I can't.
That's fair. I mean, that's
I
fair.
can't
That's
comment
fair.
on
And
it.
it's also your team, though.
Yeah, it's my team, so I'm just gonna be blind.
But no, in all honesty, I do need to ask you one question. I've now seen people talk about, and I get you're younger than me, but Zach Edey, is he on the Mount Rushmore of college basketball players already, or does he need to cut down the nets? Just in your lifetime, is there 4 players better in college basketball history?
Yeah, I
Okay.
would say so.
Okay.
I think there's an argument for it. I would have to sit and think a little more about it, but I wouldn't necessarily. Yeah, I wouldn't go out and say he's on Mount Rushmore. I think he can.
I mean, there's people who are saying he's number 1, and the fact that, I mean, I'm assuming you both are too young to remember Psycho T in college.
Heard of him? Don't know much about
Okay,
him.
yeah, Psycho T,
Where'd you go to school at?
North Carolina.
Oh, UNC. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Tyler Hansborough.
I'm well aware of Tyler Hansborough.
Oh,
I don't know why the heck I didn't recognize that
Yeah,
name.
Psycho T was.
I've
his
heard
name.
that name before.
Yeah.
I never heard it in that. Yeah, he
Tyler
is number 1.
Yes, Tyler Hansborough. Okay, that's all I need to clear. Okay,
Yeah,
now I'm less
you're
fuming
not getting
about
any
it.
you're not getting any pushback from me.
I mean, the man was literally day 1 on Carolina campus dominating, and then he helped cut down the nets. No big deal.
Absolutely. Yeah, no arguments there. Give me Tyler Hansborough.
Okay, that's okay. That's all. Okay, now I feel a little bit better.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
and one more thing real quick. Didn't he win back-to-back National Player of the Year in 08 and 09? Or was it someone different?
I want to say yes, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
I'd have to look that up. But
I'm pretty sure he was the last one to do it.
which Edey is.
yeah, he's probably going to get 2.
Yeah,
I would
that's what I'm
say.
saying. He's about to do it.
But anyways, so since a lot of people are saying, and we'll move on after this, that Zach Edey is only good because he's tall. He only gets these stats because he's tall. I actually have a fun fact for everyone. Zach Edey is not the tallest player in college basketball. Crazy thought, huh? There's a player called Jamario Moon. He's 7'5". He rides the bench at Ole Miss. But when he was getting 28 minutes per game for Western Kentucky, he averaged 7.4 points per game, 7.7 rebounds per game. His most points in a single game was 18.
Wow.
There's also another 7'5", Connor Vanover. You might remember him at Oral Roberts. He rode the bench at Missouri. And he played 25 minutes per game at Oral Roberts the year before. In an easier conference, I would say, than the Big Ten. I don't know. The Summit League is pretty tough, I guess. He averaged 13 points per game, 7.2 rebounds per game, and his most points was 23. And just in case you're wondering, Zach Edey averages 25 and 12 Yeah. So I'm just saying, takes a little bit of skill, I would say, to do what Zach Edey does.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to take anything away from him on that level. Like he is a very dominant. Now he's a very dominant college player. He's not going to be good in the NBA.
Yeah, I would agree to that. I think the main thing is his effort too. I feel like a lot of those bigs are like, oh, I just got there. Like I feel like Edey gives an effort throughout the game. He can play 30-plus minutes, unlike those two guys who are playing 25 and 28. He legitimately gives 100% each game. I think that's something that those really tall players kind of lacked a lot. But yeah, I would agree with you. The NBA probably isn't the destination for him. But moving down to the South region, which was hosted in Dallas. This part of the bracket is just, where is this? There it is.
What's he digging for?
Your poor little bracket.
Yeah.
Oh, torn up again. No, here we go. All right, there it goes again.
Yep, there we go. Now it's in 4 pieces. We have the final 4 right here. It's officially official. I could really have done this at any point of the bracket. I just remembered to do it now. But looking at Duke versus Houston, 54-51 finish. I mean, really, this game played out the way Houston would have wanted, a low-scoring affair. The difference of this game is who was not in the room, and that was Jamal Shed. You have Jamal Shed in this game. He scores at least 3 points. He scores probably 5 to 10 points, and you win this game. That was the difference, and it goes back to what I said last week, is that in that Texas A&M game, as the players fouled out, were going to the bench, the game progressively got worse for Houston. That's what I predicted. If all their players were on the court, they got this. If they're missing a player or two, then there's an issue. So it really did play out that way.
Can't sum it up any better than that. That was literally the big fact. I had 26 minutes without Jamal. Simple.
Yeah. I mean, this game, it was coming in, it was going to be a really good defensive game. Like, Houston, they're the number 1 scoring defense, averaging 57.6. Duke, they're number 2 in the ACC in defense, averaging 66.3. But I feel like, just like you guys, the difference maker was Shed. He wasn't in because of his ankle injury. He only had 2 points, 1 out of 5. That's not gonna win you a game.
Yeah. Well, if he would have been able to play, likely he would have had a better stat line than that. But
yep.
That's the end of the day. You can't do anything about it. NC State versus Marquette, 67-58. I missed this game as well. I was busy racing go-karts. But like I said, Marquette laid an egg, something that they kind of had a tendency to do throughout the season. Calling back to that 4 factors I was talking about, Marquette won all but one. Once again, it was effective field goal percentage that was the difference in that game. They shot 4 for 31 from 3. That is 13%. You are not going to win too many games like that. That makes me think, go back once again to Purdue. They didn't just sit there and fall in love with the 3 that they weren't making. They went inside. This Marquette team can score inside, so I don't understand why. Maybe they were playing from behind a lot of the games, so they're just trying to catch up. I don't know. I didn't watch it, so.
I'm going to tell you now, watching it, I've never seen somebody shoot so many wide open threes and miss.
Really? Just as a team?
Yeah, as a team. I mean, NC State really didn't even defend them.
Yeah.
Marquette just couldn't hit a shot. Plain and simple as that. But the key factor also was Mohamed Diarra and DJ Horn combined for 30 points, even though DJ Burns only had 4.
Yeah, that was the other thing I got down here. DJ Burns attracted all the attention as per usual, but only had 4 points. He made up for that in the next game. But
Yep.
Mohamed Diarra, I have him as the unsung hero. 18 points?
11 points, 15 boards.
Yeah, 11 points, 15 boards. I just put down the 15 boards. So, yeah, just an incredible game from them. It's just been a completely different team from what we saw in the regular season.
Yeah. But, NC State, they're continuing their miracle run. Like DJ Horn had 19 points, 6 out of 15, 4 out of 7 3-point shots. Mohamed Diarra, is that his name?
Diarra.
Okay.
Yeah.
11 points, 4 out of 6, 3 out of 4 from the line. Like this NC State squad, they're really good and much deserve a win. They played their hearts out.
Well, speaking of the next game, I'll go ahead and go straight into that. Do you know the only thing worse than watching your team lose in March?
Oh, God, here we go.
Is to watch the 2 teams that you despise more than any other team in college basketball play each other for a chance to go to the Final Four. That was pain. That being said, the DJ show was absolutely dominant, 49 points, and Tyrese Proctor went a magical 0 for 9. I'm done.
What's bro, like a 6-year senior now? It feels like he's been there forever.
Proctor, he was only a sophomore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but 0 for 9.
Well,
no.
I guess anytime you don't have a freshman.
Apparently,
there,
everybody
it
just wants
feels
to go 0 for 9. I don't understand
like
this.
that's the magic number.
Yeah, just pain.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, DJ show, 49 points.
DJ Burns made Filipowski look like a 7-foot traffic cone. Honestly.
Flopikowski. Get it right.
Flopikowski, yeah. I mean, kind of what happened there is I felt like this Duke team would make it as far as a team that just out-physicaled them. I thought Houston would do that because they're very soft and just end up being NC State in this case. Jared McCain, all props to him and his nails. 32 points, just was not enough. Duke bench only had 2 points as a team. Had they been a small bench all year?
Yeah.
Okay, I hadn't watched many Duke games. I try to stay away from that ugly program.
As you should.
Yeah. So, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. But I mean, NC State, like I mentioned, they continue to impress. DJ Burns, especially, with 29 points, 13 out of 19 field goals, and DJ Horn, 20 points, 7 out of 16, 2 out of 6 3-point shots. But also, I want to give a shout out to McCain, 32 points, and Jeremy Roach with 13, Kyle Filipowski with 11.
Flopikowski.
But yeah, overall great matchup between these two ACC rivals.
Well, since we're on that side of the bracket, we might as well go ahead and let Colton go on a little rant/prediction right here. NC State, Purdue, Final Four.
It's going to be one hell of a show. DJ Burns versus Zach Edey. Everyone wants to go out there and say DJ Burns is going to sun Zach Edey. I'm sure Purdue fans are out saying Zach Edey is going to make DJ Burns look like a little kid or something. I don't know. I'm just going to appreciate the show, man. I'm just going to appreciate the show for what it is. It's going to be 2 physical, outstanding players going out there and, beating it down in the post. We don't see that very often anymore, and it'll be fun to watch. I think what it really will come down to is I see a world where Zach Edey gets all his Zach Edey calls and DJ Burns ends up getting in the foul trouble, and that puts him out of the game. I hope it doesn't end up that way, but I'm sure it can be. I'm sure it could happen, and if that happens, I'm not going to complain, I guess. But but I'll go ahead and take Purdue in this one for obvious reasons.
Yeah, for me, it comes down to NC State is 21-5 when holding a team under 76 points. Honestly, can they hold Purdue under 76 points?
No, not unless they shoot the way they did.
Okay, then for me, it's Purdue.
Yeah, I'm going Purdue as well. Unfortunately, NC State's tournament run will come to an end, but expect a really good matchup guard-wise. Like I mentioned before, Purdue, they're a really good 3-point shooting team, but I feel like the difference in this game between Edey and Burns, I feel like Zach Edey's got the advantage. Purdue wins this game.
Love to hear it, boys. Love to hear it. UConn versus Alabama. Give me UConn by 20.
I won't go that hard and high.
Give me UConn by 30.
Okay, wow. All right, that escalated. I better talk quick. I'll give you. I'll take UConn very easily, but closer than the experts think.
I got UConn in this one, but I don't think it's going to be by 30.
35.
I think it'll be shorter than that. But it's going to be a really good matchup between these two great teams, number 1 scoring offense, and UConn. They got a really good backcourt with Newton and Cam Spencer, and great defense that averages 53 points this tournament. I got UConn.
Yeah. One thing to point out, UConn made 19 threes against Purdue and still lost. So I like the balanced attack from UConn to just take whatever threes they give them and still be able to keep up with them. Moving on to the championship, we all have UConn versus Purdue. I love to see it, boys, although this is probably where our paths diverge, I would assume. I have Purdue. I have a whole paragraph here written about it. We need to kind of pick up the pace a little bit. So one thing I will say is UConn blows out a lot of teams. Purdue will likely keep that game close. And this Purdue team has probably played, just as a whole, from freshman to senior, has probably played more close games than UConn or any team in the tournament, and they will be in their comfort zone. And that's really all I got. I could say more, but I got Purdue.
Yeah, I'm taking UConn. It's really not hard. They're the best team, and I'm done doubting them.
I'm taking UConn as well. It's going to be a great matchup with all these talented guards and Zach Edey, of course, but I'm taking UConn. They will be the first back-to-back champion since 2007.
And you've been on that from day one, right?
Yep. He has been on it. We should have taken more time to point out.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch that last video, which you should, subscribe as well. He was on the dot on a lot of his stuff, even the upsets and stuff like that. So props to you, man. You had a great week, and your bracket stays intact, but ours does
Appreciate
not. So yeah, that's it. We got our final. Everyone's got their picks out there, and now it's time to move on to baseball.
Yes.
For the first time in a while, we're talking something other than NCAA. We had the Reds opening week. They started out 3-2, went 2 of 3 against the Nationals opening weekend, and then are currently tied 1-1 against the Phillies. They're about to play. What time is it?
It got pushed back actually.
Oh, it got pushed back because of rain. Are they going to play tonight?
I think 7:10 schedule.
7:10.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, they'll be playing around 7:10 tonight. Means the game will be over by the time you guys all see it. But mixed bag, I would say, for me on the Reds opening week. And you're more of an expert here, Josh, so I'll let you take it away.
All right. So for me, it's the same story as it's been basically for about a season with this young team. Rally Reds. Simple as that. Tough or impressive win opening day with Martini becoming a household name with 2 home runs. Montas had nice 6 innings shutout baseball.
Nick Martini hits bombs. He doesn't hit bombs. He hits nukes, baby.
See, I'm going to say, you at least you know that much.
I do know that much.
7-6, tough loss, game 2. Alexis Diaz blowing a save. Doesn't look right to me. I don't know how. Did you get to watch the game at all? He just seems off a little bit.
I watched it a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
There was something else about that game, too. There was a lot of infield mistakes.
Yeah,
a lot of miscommunication, kind of early season stuff, I guess.
Well, it's dealt with, if I remember correctly, it dealt with a lot of people not playing with their normal teammates. Obviously, there's 8 players right now on the Reds IL to start the year. 6.
God, there's 8.
Yeah,
8.
6 or 7 of them were projected to be opening day rotation starter, whatever you want to say, on the team. So it plays a lot. That one they let get away from them. I had the back-to-back home run game by Benson and CES for his first hit of the season. 6-3 comeback win. Raleigh Reds steer grand slam in the 10th to take the first game from the Phillies, which was awesome to see because Diaz had his stuff that night. Basically 2 innings pitched, 2 strikeouts. And then last night it was Bryce Harper's show. Bryce Harper finally woke up and hit bomb. Speaking of bomb after bomb after bomb.
Well, we know Bryce Harper hits nukes. That's even those who don't watch baseball know that.
Yeah. So Ben, your thoughts on so far?
Yeah, the Reds, they're off to a really good start this season. Despite the injuries, though, I feel like that's not slowing them down. They got a lot of talented people, a lot of talented players on this roster that can step up. And I believe that since day one. But just going back to opening day here, Nick Martinez, 2 home runs, including 5 Martini. I'm sorry.
Hits nukes.
2 home runs, 5 RBIs, and fun fact, I don't know if you guys saw this during the broadcast, he was the first Reds player to hit 2 home runs on opening day since Adam Dunn. How about that?
That's a throwback name right there.
Adam Dunn.
Talk about another dude who's bombs.
Yeah.
But overall, on opening day, it was a great offensive performance, especially from Spencer Steer, including he was 2 out of 3, including 2 RBIs.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up. The hot start for Will Benson and Spencer Steer.
Yeah.
Will Benson 6 of 19 so far this year, obviously with the home run. Spencer Steer 9 of 19. With his grand slam. Very hot start for those two to pick up the slack of CES kind of having a slow start. And Ellie is there, but he's not there.
Yeah.
But just let me go on a quick little rant about Ellie real fast.
Go right ahead.
Last night, had a few errors. Some people are getting on him about that.
Yep.
But it's one of those things, Ellie is so young. You're going to have to let Ellie be Ellie. or he might lose that swagger and lose what Ellie is, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, he's got to get the growing pains out before he becomes a Yankee.
Okay, hold up.
Or Dodger.
No, it's Dodger, first off. He
Okay.
literally said his dream is to play for the Dodgers. Thank you for
my
bringing that
fault, my
up.
fault.
But now I just died a little bit inside. God, already thinking about why? Why do you got to do that to somebody? The man hasn't even played 100 games as a Red.
Yeah.
And there's people who want to move him to the outfield. Don't get me wrong, I would love him in center field.
Yeah.
But the man's never played center field before, so you're not going to do that now.
Yeah.
Not in the middle of the season. Spring training? Yeah, okay. We'll test him out there all spring, see what happens like they did with India. And then the injuries happened and the suspension happened. Marte. But, yeah, so, Ben.
So game 3 of the National when they played the Nationals
Yes.
on Easter, I think that was such a great game.
Yes.
I forget who hit that home run when the Nationals went up 4-3. I thought Benson robbed it at first. I thought he grabbed it, but unfortunately it was a home run. But especially the bottom of the ninth, they had 2 outs. They were down 5-3, and then Benson hits a home run to tie it up at 5, and then here comes CES with the walk-off home run to win it 6-5 and to win the series. Like you said, the Rally Reds, and didn't they lead the league last year in come from behind wins?
Yes.
The Rally Reds.
Tied with the Orioles. Thank you, producer Garrett. You would know all. But yes, no, Rally Reds just do what
I
they
thought that
do.
was God.
But I do want to say one more thing before we move on to our predictions for this one. Red starters so far, and it's only been a week, but it is a key to me, had 2 quality starts. None of the starters have given up more than 3 runs. I'm very happy with that. That it needs to happen with Reds starting pitching. However, the bullpen, 14 runs given up so far.
Wow.
And Brent Sutter, hometown kid, Cincinnati, I believe Moeller grad.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
Moeller grad.
I remember that.
Has been used 4 times in 5 games. So do we just not want him used by the All-Star break? Like, what are we doing here? Let's slow down on his usage already. I get it's just the beginning of the season, but
He's good. I like him.
He is very good. He's a very, very nice lefty to have. I'm going to say very nice lefty to have off the pen. So you got any more things to add before we come up with some predictions?
No, I think that's it.
All right.
It's just a little frustrating that their closer Diaz just couldn't close out that game.
Yeah, 4-1 would look beautiful.
Yeah,
3-2,
exactly what I
3
meant.
and 2 is all right.
Especially when looking at the undefeated teams right now.
Yeah,
Pirates are 5-0, Brewers are 3-0, and Tigers are 4-0 when I made these notes.
Yeah.
So like having 2 division opponents undefeated. I'm sure the Pirates, they kind of did this last year if I remember right. They were like
I think started 19-2 or 19-3, and then just fell off.
20-8. Started
Okay.
20-8,
Yeah.
and then finished 76, 86. But the Brewers, that's going to be the Reds' main competition there for the
Cubs
top.
say hi.
Oh, sorry, I forgot the Cubs exist. Listen, I'm still learning baseball, all right? But yeah, I think the Brewers being undefeated to start, though, that's something that the Reds will have to catch up. Cubs will have to catch up on that.
So, but all right, let's come up with some quick predictions here. Braves and Giants are as my World Series. Or well, let's try this again. Braves and Orioles are as my World Series with the Braves winning.
I thought I was crazy for picking the Orioles. It was just kind of like I looked at it all. I got the Dodgers for obvious reasons. And then I saw what's a random team that's kind of young, upcoming, Orioles. So I went with the Orioles. I have the Orioles pulling a Dirk, and I'm comparing this to basketball, but pulling a Dirk on the Mavs back in 2011, upsetting the big Goliath, and Shohei Ohtani taking his talents to South Beach or Long Beach, whatever you want to say there. And yeah, give me the Orioles.
I'm taking the Atlanta Braves. Like last season, they went 104, arguably the best team last season, but they were eliminated early out of the playoffs by the Phillies. I think this can be a redemption year for them.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Atlanta Braves.
All right, so yeah, that's fair. Braves, and you said Orioles. So hey, we're all happy with that.
Did I say Orleans?
Orioles. No, you said Orioles.
Okay. I always just call them the Orleans. But
let's talk some left turns.
Yeah, let's talk some left turns. We haven't talked about really, I don't think on the show yet about left turns. It's what are we about the fourth away through the season?
Mm-hmm.
So looking pretty good so far. Our winners are Willie B at Daytona, Daniel Suarez at Atlanta, Larson at Vegas, Christopher Bell at Phoenix, Denny Hamlin winning at Bristol, Willie B getting his second win at Coda, and then Denny Hamlin once again at Richmond. Chevy has 4 wins. Toyota has 3 wins. Ford has a donut. And, the top 5 in points. MTJ, no wins, but he has been the most consistent driver so far. Should have a win, if not for a stupid call at the end. Literally admitting that that's how it should have went. But Larson second, Hamlin third, Ty Gibbs in fourth, making Josh over here look. But Ryan Blaney is the only Ford in the top 10 in points in 5th place. It's looked rough.
Yeah, the Ford thing, it's the longest streak they've had to open a year without a win in the history of Ford. So
they just did not hit the mark. They don't have. I can't think of a Ford that had race winning speed all season.
Yeah, no. So for me, I'll just sum this up. Biggest surprise, by far, you already hit me on it. Ty Gibbs, 3 top 10 or 3 top 5s, 5 top 10s, 0 DNFs, led 195 laps so far this year. He's been very impressive and making me eat my words. And then most disappointing, I know you mentioned Ford and everything like that, but Austin Dillon just got a new engineer and a new crew chief, aka Richard is trying to save Austin Dillon's job. But
it's the same crew chief he's had like 4 different times in his career. Justin Alexander. Just every time he starts sucking, they bring back Alexander.
Yeah, well, 29th in points, 0 top 5, 0 top 10s, 0 top 15s. No laps led this year. Austin Dillon, very overrated. Bring up Austin Hill. Ben, go ahead.
I mean, the beginning of these Toyotas, they are really good. As you mentioned, Ty Gibbs in 7 races, 5 top 5s, average finish of 9th, and 195 laps led. That win is coming. Trust me. Martin Truex Jr., 7 races, 5 top 5s, average finish of 8.1, 352 laps led. Should have won Richmond, but unfortunately that slipped away. And Christopher Bell, a win at Phoenix, and Denny Hamlin with 2 wins at Bristol and Richmond. Like, I believe Joe Gibbs Racing, they're the best team this year. And my biggest surprise, though, is Austin Dillon's teammate, Kyle Busch. Because in 7 races this year, only 2 top 5s, one top 5, 63 laps led, and an average finish of 16th. These are not numbers by Kyle Busch.
Yeah,
no, these are not KFB numbers. You know.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts.
My biggest disappointment would be Joey Logano, 19th in points right now, average finish of 20th. He's just kind of been in a slump since his championship year, a year and a half ago. Like, even last year he wasn't looking too good. He's looked even worse this year. I say that after he finished second at Richmond. But, he's looked like – it's like he has a fast qualifying car, and then it's the second he has to actually race, he just goes backwards.
Yep. I mean, he started from the pole a couple of times this year, the Daytona 500, and I believe it was Vegas.
I believe Atlanta as well, and I think Vegas too.
Yeah,
I think he started at least on the front row.
Yeah, I would say first 3 races you start on the front row.
Yeah, the qualifying, it's there, but the race itself, the finishes are just not good. They were like mid-20s, early 30s.
Well, I'm calling it now. Boys. This weekend, it changes. Joey Logano, victory line.
Where are we at?
Martinsville.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely
Let me guess. Denny?
No, I got William Byron.
God, I'm so sick of him winning.
I'm taking our defending series champion, Ryan Blaney. Since 2021, 6 races, of course, 3 top 5s, 4 top 10s, 307 laps led, and his lowest finish is 11th. So give me the champ, Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, this would be a great way for him to kind of establish himself back in that race. So I would love to see that. Moving on to a returning feature of the show, the 2-minute warning. Josh, take it away.
All right, so we're going to make this very quick because I believe we're running kind of low on time. But so we'll answer these 3 questions very quickly. Who won NFL free agency outside the Texans? Ben.
Damn
it. I believe I'm looking at the AFC North, the Ravens and the Browns. Derrick Henry. They signed Derrick Henry, and he'll be joining Lamar Jackson, Trey Flowers, and Mark Andrews and the Browns. They signed Jerry Jeudy from the Broncos. He'll be joining Deshaun Watson, Amari Cooper, and Nick Chubb. As a Bengals fan, I'm scared for these 2 squads to play the Bengals defense. So it's going to be really, really tough.
Colton, you run this show. Go ahead and just pick the Texans. Tell me to shut up.
Give me the Texans. I can't think of anybody who won more than the Texans. That was my pick, and that threw me off.
Yeah, no, give me the Falcons. Darnell Mooney, Rondell Moore, and Kirk Cousins.
I forgot about
Cousins.
the Falcons. That's been a great offseason for them.
Biggest threat to stop the likely Boston-Denver championship matchup for me, it's nobody. Too many injuries through the NBA. These two teams are going to walk to the playoffs.
I was going to say injuries was the only thing that could stop them. So
no, that's fair.
Any team would maybe be the Heat.
Yeah. All right.
You know, Logan will like this. I'm taking OKC.
Yeah, Logan will like that.
Yeah.
And then last question. Who is your NCAA Women's Basketball Championship winner? Which, by the way, shout out to the LSU-Iowa game. 12 million plus people were watching that game.
I was one of them.
Yeah, so
was I.
Give me Iowa.
I'm taking Iowa as well. I think Caitlin Clark, she's going to go crazy, and she's going to be the difference maker.
Fun fact, out of those 12.3 million viewers, that's more than any women's college basketball game ever. 2023 NBA Finals, World Series, Orange Bowl, Big Ten Championship, Cotton Bowl, Pac-12 Championship, Big 12 Championship, ACC Championship, Peach Bowl, Thursday night football games in every 2023 college football regular season game except for Ohio State and Michigan. That's how many people watched. You want to talk about viewership? Iowa gets it.
Damn.
and
Damn.
Also, by the way, I'm taking UConn over NC State.
I thought you were talking about men's basketball there for a second.
Can you imagine if it happens twice?
Oh, God. No, it's not happening twice. So that's all we got for today. Glad we got the 2-minute warning back in there. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you, Bill and NKU Media Services, for all you do, making this show possible. Thank you, Garrett, for directing, doing some great work back there. And, of course, thank you guys for being on the show. Be sure to listen to the Not So Small Talk show and the Raid 2 Great podcast.
Hey, you did it good this time.
I got it the first time. Look at me. And, yeah, you guys have a wonderful day, and peace out.